Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. And of course, you can buy me a cup of coffee with a Venmo or what have you. I'm very lucky. We have increasingly had the occasional guest because of the shuffle in my schedule on the afternoon show. And this one's particularly special because Doc Adam is back with us. How are you, good sir? We're having a nice...
Good, my friend.
We're having a nice Van Halen conversation before the show started because he had just found out I'm in Nerd Halen, and hopefully we'll get to your neck of the woods and you can I can invite you to a show.
Oh,
and it's,
hell yeah!
It's impressive. So I don't know why you're even bothering to post anymore because Doc Ronnie was at the football gaggle today, and can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Doc Ronnie was at the Navy team gaggle that Trump had today, and according to Trump, he continues to say he is the healthiest president in the history of presidents. And he's like, I like this guy. That was you know how he does that one all the time. He told me I was the healthiest president. I like this guy. So
you're saying Ronnie Jackson caught on the mic and said this?
No. He was standing over there. Trump is obviously, referencing something that happened, months or years ago on Fox. But Trump, again, every problem he has is old news. Every congratulations or moment of appreciation happened just 10 seconds ago, right? Every bit of applause it's all stacks into a moment that chases him around. But everything that anybody ever said bad about him is old news. Stupid. I don't even know what you're talking about. Are we still fighting in Iran and talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Mm-hmm.
So your thoughts on this? I know you've been tracking his appearance window, which has been shortening.
Mm-hmm.
And his he's kind of on a loop lately. When he talks, you know what I mean? It's like somebody spliced together a tape.
That's right. Yeah, he's gonna his speech and vocabulary are gonna continue to get more and more narrow, because he doesn't want to show weakness. That's the number one thing he wants to.
Too late. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, what he says or does not say is going to become more and more narrow, and he's, policy wise, he's painting himself into a corner. Of course, if you can believe this, he's actually pissing off MAGA voters because he's bombing Iran. But yeah, it's going to become more and more narrow. It's similar to what you talk about with Reagan when he gave that speech at the RNC, when he's like, all right, okay, don't get me off subject.
Yep.
But we're going to see more of that.
He had, one of the things that everybody's been sort of clamoring about is they now have him seemingly on a routine, and almost like a toddler. He has, state visit or cabinet meeting, a video where he signed something in the morning, which they AI'd together a couple of days ago. It was one of these moments. I don't know if you've seen this one, but from the White House, they did this like video of him talking about, he signed something, and I'll see if I can bring it up again.
Please do.
But he was just, like prattling like I haven't seen him speak in a long time. He didn't quite sound like, Trump from, 5 years ago, but he was reading like competently from the teleprompter in a way that was coming out of his mouth, where he reads each word, and if there's a word that is off the screen, there is he was doing that whole thing. But he had this, it looked like it was put together, and he was on his A game. And then I played it for everybody, and it's this thing right here.
Today I'm signing
Hold on. Let me show you this real quick, because there's a couple of things in the very beginning of it that are kind of crucial to this. So not only does he look as, fresher than you've seen him, but there's something really peculiar, and it might be hard on the bigger screen to see what he does.
Historic executive orders continuing my administration's efforts to help more of our citizens achieve the dream of home ownership. It's called the American Dream. Thanks to our purchase of $200 billion in mortgage bonds, mortgage rates recently reached the lowest level in 5 years. This dramatically reduces monthly payments for new
So he's plowing through this, right, in a way that he normally doesn't do. Okay,
home buyers.
And I'm sure some of the edits are good, but there are a couple that stick out.
The annual cost of the typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 since I took office. I'm very proud of that. I also signed an executive order to stop Wall Street and large institutional investment firms from buying up all the single-family homes in the scheme to turn them into rentals and make lots of money in doing it. We want America to be a nation of owners, not renters. Today, I'm taking action to help reduce rates even more and make it much easier to build new homes in America. The first executive order is about bringing more community banks back into the mortgage business. 2 decades ago, over 5,000 community.
Okay, there was one. That was one of the shifts right there. What you'll see is the background.
Decades ago, over 5,000 community banks were offering mortgages. Today, that number has been slashed by more than 50%, largely because of burdensome, unnecessary regulations that radical liberals impose on community lenders for the benefit of their donors.
Yeah, did you see that? You see that? The word lenders?
I did. That's
okay.
right.
Okay, so they are AIing this together. This is AI. They have created a Trump avatar. He does a slapdash shitty version. He blazes through it and doesn't, makes all the mistakes he wants, and it's good. And then they fix it. But watch his mouth.
Radical liberals impose on community lenders for the
lenders, like it's right. So I was like, when I started watching him, I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's blazing through this thing. Like, this is not how Trump normally talks, and he's reading very clearly, and he's hammering these points home. And then I was like, oh, it is fake. It is. This is definitely AI. And if and it's either a live thing where they stitched together several takes. And they like just basically took his head and just had him sit there for a minute, and while they're pretending to just sit here for a second, and he was like tapping his hand on the table and whatever while they're doing this, and then they put his face, they put the face on afterwards, and then they just have it. Now, guaranteed they're going to be doing more of these, because if you go to one of the other gatherings, he's back to like, well, reading is fun and dumb and mental, and that I don't think people like that registered as much.
Radical liberals impose on community lenders for the benefit of their donors on
community lenders.
That's big, brother.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be as telling if it looked like they were just fixing the word over top of it, but they clearly are fixing all of it, all the video. At one point, the pen that's on the table rolls over on its own, as if a poltergeist has.
Yes, there's always those telltale signs,
right?
Like like the video that went viral about him smacking that girl on the backside in the Oval Office. That's AI.
Yeah,
and one of the clearest reasons is the flags have text on them that's complete gibberish.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
there's those telltale signs in these videos still. But he's going to have access to the best AI money can buy.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, this is when you hear we did our show Friday AI this morning, and Rob and I were talking a bunch about this tech, as I love to do. The version that most people see is not the advanced version that the owners of these companies have. And he is throwing billions of dollars at the owners of these companies. And so the Anthropic that Anthropic is saying don't use it to bomb schools that they have access to can do all of this shit better than, at a Hollywood level already. That's how they sold it to the Pentagon. So more and more you're going to see. I think we're not that far from them doing a video like that with other people in it. And those people have to keep their mouth shut. And then if you have, just so happens to be that there are like 5 people in the video with them that weren't really there, or on hush hush, and one of them's a Joe Kent, and he takes a powder, then what?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you seen definitive proof that Benjamin Netanyahu is alive?
Yes. I mean,
You have?
in theory, like he took questions from the press yesterday.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he goes,
Okay.
"You can see I'm alive," or whatever, and that kind of thing. Now, I gotta say that could be fake. I mean, you could maybe the reporters that were there. Nobody knows the actual reporters, right? There could be reporters like I wasn't at that, but he gave it. He took questions.
Yeah.
So that's always been like a squirrely one. The idea that they would have got him, or I mean, the idea is that he keeled over on his own, but nobody's taking credit for assassinating him. So
Yeah, good point.
that's weird. And so this sort of the same thing with Putin. You can't really he's got several doubles. We know this. He's had him for there's an argument that that's who Trump met in Alaska was one of Putin's doubles.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that he's got a bunch of these. He's got like 3 that they talk about all the time. For different tiers, the talking one and the standing there and waving one. Like one of them can't sound like him right. One of them nails it, but they keep him almost as protected as Putin because if something happens to him, the other guys are like durr durr. So he killed the wrong dummy.
Know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but again, if the word is, Putin's health's been shit for a long time. So the argument is he didn't go anywhere. But if nobody claims he's dead from outside the country, you're never going to get the real story from inside the country. I think with Israel, it's sort of different because it's not going to impact the interior focus of the country right now. Once this is, and this is the issue we have with Trump, once this started in Iran, it's not going to stop. Right?
Yeah.
It's, Tulsi Gabbard, they know this, that you cannot, you have opened Pandora's box. You have opened a can of worms and there is no, getting them back in. And that's what they're counting on. That's what Netanyahu was arguably counting on. But it's also what MBS and Sheikh Khalifa and all those folks were counting on. And that Tulsi Gabbard, I think the most telling thing is Tulsi Gabbard saying, that as long as the regime it exists, we believe they will try to reconstitute a nuclear weapon, which means regime change. Like they're not going to settle on somebody that's even aligned with this. That is the DNI saying what Trump allows her to say because she's full of shit, but she's she's all over the place. She is clearly saying we're doing regime change and we're not. And Trump said, I think with that football gaggle today, we're going to stay as long as it takes. Yeah. And then my favorite, and this
Stay as long as it takes for what?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
What do you think you're going to do over there?
Well, here's what I want to ask. There's this weird thing that he does. He does a lot of weird things, but there's this one particular thing, I think there's something to it, where he says, why would I tell you? And then he tells them. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, I don't have a plan, but if I did have a plan, I wouldn't tell you, but I don't have a plan, which is like, okay.
Now here's my plan.
Yeah, right. The plan is no plan. I have but he does this all the time. We don't have to go in there. We're not going in there. But if I was going to go in there, I wouldn't tell you, but we're not going to go in there. So either that's the idiot's way of lying, or he's like, it's nonsense. Like he spills because it's his ego.
Yes. His mouth is the biggest problem for MAGA.
Right. Because the truth is ugly. Right.
Right. Does Andrea handle media for you? Like the clip that you showed of Trump, of that announcement?
No, but I mean, like CSL does. He could probably find it. The clip, yes. He pulled it in there. Yeah. Do you want it?
Okay. Yeah. If you could send that to me, that'd be amazing.
Oh, yes.
I didn't harvest that from any platform anywhere. That'd be great.
There are 2 key moments in it that really stand out. Some of the edits are the way they slap them together are okay, but there's one where there's a parallax moment where the background shifts behind him. You know, it looked like if a camera was refocusing, but but only on the background, which is not possible. But if in
Right.
a 3D generated image, it'll squash sometimes. And then the other one was that clearly like, oh yeah, where his mouth just does whatever the hell.
Sure.
And then part of them like covering his hands, you know, he does that anyways. And you know, and they may have, you know, like I said, it's very possible they just said, we're going to do this with AI. You just got to sit there for about a minute and a half. And he's just tapping his hand on the thing, and they use a little bit of that and like edit it together,
That's right.
and that's how it works. And get used to the idea that this is going to happen. This is going to happen more and more with this guy.
Yep.
And now it's the spill online. So the other thing too is his enormous posts online about this. Like,
Yes, they are so long.
yeah. One of them was 2 pages. He started to put like chapter 1 on some of these things.
That's right. Season 1.
That's right.
No, I ask about Netanyahu because they did release 2 AI videos as proof of life before this press conference that we saw, or that you saw. I think they were doing that as a trial run to see if anybody could really tell that, you know, like in the coffee shop, that when he turns to his right, his ear has no canal.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff. I feel like they were just testing the water because they know it's going to advance. There's going to be an updated, generative AI version soon.
Oh yeah.
They just wanted to see how far they can get with it.
There are a bunch of AI accounts I follow just for breaking AI news, because I cover that because I'm named after a computer, so it's kind of my cause celeb. And
Is that where your name comes from?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, HAL is short for High Order Assembly Language, but which is what that breaks down. It's 3 letters off from IBM, right? But right, but there are a few people. This Julie McCoy who does these, and this a guy named Julian Goldie. Both of them have avatars on their channel that do their show for them now, because they got consulting jobs from what they were doing. So they now have an avatar that does the job. I'll see if I can find the let's see, because one of them, they both admit it, which is interesting. Like, I'm the digital avatar of so and so. Julian McCoy.
But they started doing socials to educate people.
Yeah, they started doing videos for, like coding videos and the like, and I'll show you the channel.
Yeah.
This is Julie McCoy's channel, Julia McCoy, and all of her stuff is like, she's hit 250 subscribers, and she hasn't been a real person on the channel in half a year. She's probably been doing this since last year, but I'll show you. This is.
What if you could have a team of AI developers all building your app at the same time while you just focus on the vision? That's not a fantasy anymore. Replit just dropped Agent 4 and I got early access. This is their 4th major iteration in under 2 years. And this one is specifically built around, here's what you type up it again to finally sit them or they stop.
Not the Star
That's not
Trek
how real
top.
teams build things.
Let's go.
And Replit finally fixed it. Feature 1.
Let me show you this again. This is not a real person.
That's not how real teams
her
build
avatar?
things. And
Yes,
Replit
this is her avatar. She doesn't do her show.
finally fixed
Brother,
it.
her
Feature
hair
1.
looks too real.
It's nuts, right? And she made it put her in a Star Trek shirt. She didn't take a
Design
Here I am
canvas.
admiring the
With
shirt,
Agent
brother.
4,
We're
there's
cooked.
now an
We're cooked.
infinite
Yeah, dude.
canvas built directly into the same environment as your code. You can sketch out UI ideas, generate variants, compare them side by side, and when something clicks, it goes straight into your production code.
I'll also tell you that this, the way she talks on this
Only works in the main version of your project.
is not any different from how her original videos looked. Like, you couldn't go, oh, okay, I can see the moment it went. I think actually at one point, and I may be talking out of school because I don't track all these people. I'm not like fanboying over this account. This is one of a few that I see doing this stuff now. she did have a health update on one of her channels. So I think she got sick and couldn't do her channel and decided, hey, I do all this AI stuff. I should just lean into this avatar thing.
Oh my God.
And that's when she started doing her show.
Not inside threads. So make sure you're in the right place before you start designing. Feature 2.
I'm just telling you that and the weird thing is the things that are hard to fake in real human interaction, you know, AI, you know, where it would hang up AI or whatever, Trump is clunky and odd anyways. So there's so many.
He's easier to clone.
Right? Yeah. There aren't flashes of personality and that kind of stuff. There aren't variances. It's not a real weave. It's just this kind of staccato thing and even when he's talking in an Oval Office address, it's even more predictable.
Yeah.
This is the thing I'm doing. And I'm telling you, that video that I showed you is AI. It is absolutely
100%.
AI. And
one of the convincing things about her avatar is there's even stray hairs in her hair. That's why it looked convincing.
Oh yeah. I mean, they
Crazy.
they're playing off of his thing, but I'm sure there'll be like weird fixes, like his makeup goes past his jawline, like weird stuff like that. But this is not hard to fake at all.
No.
Especially at that level. And she's using what effectively are prosumer tools. Like it probably costs you, one of the $100 a month plans on one of those sites to have a really good avatar.
Yep.
But this is
totally accessible.
Defense level? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and he's, the advantage is he's 80 years old. So his skin, he's got 80-year-old skin.
Yeah.
It's not hard to,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to look smooth or contoured or anything like that.
No. So there are several moments in this.
More than 50%.
We're so used to what he looks like because everybody jokes about him that this, tell me the difference between this video.
Largely because of burdensome, unnecessary regulations that radical liberals impose on community lenders for the benefit.
Like, I feel like they should hire Julian McCoy to tell them how to do it right. But that's AI.
Crazy.
That is an AI video.
Yep.
No question.
Wow.
And at this point, I don't know that I think I'm the only person pointing it out, but maybe it's just because of my fixation. But they are get used to it, kids.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see some people go, we were going to do an event at the White House, and then they said it was canceled. And then you're going to see video of that event with the people that were standing on the stage and Trump talking, and he's not even there. Like, he didn't show. But they're going to swear everybody to secrecy for national security reasons.
I'm seeing people ask Grok on Twitter if a video is AI, and that AI agent will analyze video and say, there's a 95% chance it's AI or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering how people protect themselves. Because, again, this asshole is not requiring any regulation in this industry. It's insanity. You don't have to have a watermark for AI, generative AI video footage. Nothing. They can just do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, the companies, like I said, Grok's one of them. Grok is jockeying for a defense contract on a bunch of fronts to try and muscle out Anthropic, and all of them want some form of giant government contract. So if they're going to tell their systems, if anybody's going to tell Grok or their AI not to snitch, it's Elon Musk. And they can do it.
100%.
They can backdoor this horse shit. So I gotta say, like, the trust but verify is a little difficult when the verification arm is has been broken.
It's too much, man. It can be used on such a deeply evil level when you're dealing with a post-truth society,
right?
Like America, so far too many American, I guess you could say a critical mass, because I did elect Trump twice, but I mean, there's a critical mass of the electorate that they don't need the truth; they just need belief. Right. So if you can get them to believe that Joe Kent did a line of coke on the the Resolute desk when nobody was around.
Right.
Now he's discredited. Now we can just go back to whatever Trump is saying about the Iran war, you know, and disregard what the 11 tours in the Middle East, Army Ranger, Green Beret, ex-CIA director of counterterrorism is saying there was no threat from Iran. I resign.
Yeah. And again, this guy's a maggot who might have designs on a future in the party post-Trump. And part of what he might be doing, part of the reason why he might feel comfortable saying this shit is because he knows Trump doesn't have that many days left.
Bro, that's a great point. I did not consider that.
He's seeing intel both directions. He's seeing what he's getting from the intel community, and he's seeing what he's gathering intel when he walks into the Oval Office and listens to how this guy processes it, or if he shows up at all.
I did not think that's a brilliant idea. I'm going to make a video about that.
Excellent. Well, I watch for that, because more people are feeling comfortable tapping the brakes or stepping away. And, you know, and the ones that are supporting him are because they're PNAC Republicans who wanted Iran to fall anyway. So they're happy enough that he's dumb enough to do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I know Kent it's so strange, man. Like Kent, besides his career in the military and in intelligence, his wife was KIA in Syria. Yeah. Suicide bomber took her out. Like, all of that by itself, like, the guy sounds like a model public servant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's also a commentator. Like, he's a MAGA he's an ideologue.
Absolutely.
Which is super weird. I'm just like, brother, you're telling, like, I don't know. It tells you how deep, and again, as a cult escapee, I can understand these things and I have language to describe them, but that's basically how that guy's functioning. He's naive, though, in the fact that he thinks that cults transfer power. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. He sees himself as trying. What's going to happen after Trump?
Right.
What's that?
Jim Jones Jr.
Exactly.
Right.
By the way, his son survived Jonestown. Mm-hmm. He's alive.
Well, yeah, he knew what was up.
Right. But Joe thinks you can just exchange the leader. Like, the leader of a cult is modular. You can just go find another one. That's not how that works.
Well, that's the problem they're finding in Iran too, is because there is a difference between this and the sort of modular leadership of Venezuela. You know, a transactional leadership that Trump thinks he can understand that because it's exactly who he is. But he doesn't understand anybody who thinks their reward is on the other side of the wall and at all, right? He can't get it. He can't process it. Who doesn't want money? And
Good point.
Here's some shut the fuck up money. Just, here, we'll sneak you $1 billion. Just go out the back. And he doesn't understand it. It's, and it's why he doesn't understand why the Ukrainians keep fighting. And he certainly isn't going to understand why the Iranians keep fighting. And
that's a great point. He's kind of surprised that the Ukrainians just won't give in to Putin.
Yeah.
He wishes they would, but I never heard anybody say it quite that way. That's an interesting point.
He can't. He cannot process the idea that anybody wants anything more than material gain in the short term. It's one of the lucky points we have about him and Putin, because Putin is a fucking hedonist as well. Yeah. If this guy was, if Putin was, believed that his reward was in heaven, we'd have been fucked a long time ago. He just wants to be.
If somebody says to Trump, well, I want to fight for Ukraine because I love my family, he'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Yes. And Putin's the same way. Xi Jinping is arguably the same way. Joe Biden spends his entire presidency planting trees he will never sit under the shade of, because that's what it means to be a good person to him. And Trump is like, what an asshole. Who does that?
He couldn't tell you. Man, I remember it reminds me of when, I forget what event this was. It was for, religious right-wingers. Yeah. But the guy the moderator on stage is like, have you repented of your sins?
Oh,
he goes, I don't think I need to really repent of anything necessarily.
Right. You're like,
that's the whole thing.
You do. It's like kind of the only thing that's expected of you.
You really should.
Yeah. So the Bible is your favorite book, is it? Is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. What's your favorite scripture?
That's right.
All of it.
All of it. It's great.
Or no, he said, that's personal.
Right. Uh-huh. Yes, all my gaps in knowledge are just secret. It's too important to talk about.
Oh,
Um,
it's too personal.
I okay. So and in terms of the Joe Kent thing, I feel like he's in some ways the male Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is allegedly a sexual trauma survivor, right?
Yes.
Who has
Yes.
these weird like flashes of normalcy, hyper normalcy. Like she introduced a bill to stop puppy mills, and then she has this panic that there's going to be a man in the bathroom when she goes in there, and so eek, right? And like just full on panic attack.
No.
She uses the speech and debate rules to basically openly charge her ex-husband and his friends with sexually assaulting her and filming it and doing all this stuff, and right and yet and she's been on the forefront of the pushing for the Epstein files, which is good.
Yes.
But she
Yes.
jumps more down Hillary's throat than Bill's, right, in that regard,
Yeah.
and has no interest in hearing from Melania, for example, who we now know, because Dan Goldman released that unredacted email yesterday, that Melania allegedly went to Epstein's with Trump. He's like, they asked him at one point, the FBI talked to him and his lawyers, or him through his lawyers, and they said, have you ever been to Epstein's house? They don't distinguish which one, so it could be all of them. And he goes, I may have been there with my wife. And that's heretofore like unknown to the public anyways.
Yeah, that's new to me. I hadn't heard this.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the Dan Goldman email is one of the singular, like I would argue that the request for $200 billion from the Pentagon came to cover the fact that Dan Goldman was on the floor with this email showing it to people. I'll see if I can bring that up again.
Yeah.
But he had gone, and so apparently in this one, the email itself, and I showed this on there. It's a little like kind of blurry the way they have it because they blow up what was on the floor. But below the yellow line was a big black block.
Oh, yeah, okay. I've seen this image
Yeah.
before. I didn't know
Yeah.
about the content though.
Okay, so that's what this was. Everything below this line was redacted. So it was a big block out. And that was the interview part with Trump. Whereas his lawyers were speaking to him and I'm pretty sure what'll turn out is that he was on speakerphone and his lawyers were in the room. That's why, because some of it is firsthand and some of it is, it seems relayed, but this is the general thing. And it says, was Jeffrey Epstein ever expelled from Mar-a-Lago? No, he was not a member, may have been a guest, never asked to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one, Mark Epstein said Trump was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. Is that true? And then the answer is, I've been on a lot of planes, may have been on his plane, no young girls on the plane. So you don't even know if you were on the plane, but I know one thing for sure, there weren't any young girls on the plane.
How would you know that, sir?
Exactly. Well, and the other thing I point out is that from that Maximum Golf article that was written when Jeffrey Epstein flew on Trump's plane, he brought an underage girl with him, and they never get her name. The reporter never gets her name. He thought that was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's niece. That's who he thought this girl was.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you know about the allegations against Jeffrey Epstein? Only what I read in the paper. Now, remember thank goodness they're getting this guy because everybody knew about him, right? This is, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then any young girls there, Trump ever at the Jeffrey Epstein's house. I may have been there with my wife, which is, again, brings the lie. Any young girls there? No. May have been children of guests, but that's it. So I guess Howard Nutlick brought his kids again.
Yeah.
And then they also interviewed this guy, Bart Lemke, the manager of Mar-a-Lago, and he said that Jeffrey Epstein was never asked to leave Mar-a-Lago. There was never an instance where he was ever asked down here. That's the last sentence. So everything Trump has been telling about this is a lie. And again, I would track some of his mental collapse to trying to maintain this bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be deposed. They're this close to getting Pam Bondi. Bondi and Todd Blanche had a fake hearing Did you see this?
Yeah. They wanted in lieu of, which by the way is exactly what Trump did. That's the point. Trump called the cops and said, "I'll tell you guys whatever you want to know. I just don't want to do it under oath because this isn't really about me. It's about him. I don't really know that much, but I'll tell you what I know." And he wanted to be an interview statement, not a co-conspirator statement. And so he jumped in early. He did the same thing with the lawyers for the victims because none of his victims, were going through this. Like he knew either that his victims weren't part of the group or that they would never be seen again because they were sent back to the Eastern Bloc, and Putin took care of that for him.
That's right.
Right. So this is a we'll see it, but he definitely tried to get a jump on this by going, "Oh no," like he called one of the attorneys for one of the victims and said, "Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about this stuff," or whatever, because he knew that wasn't one of his victims and she didn't know anything about his stuff, so he could just say whatever to this particular victim. There's 1,000 victims, and they're saying he's been exonerated because they've interviewed 7. And by the way, 7. I would argue 7 come forward and they they've interviewed those people. The women who came forward are by and large women who are not afraid that Trump will kill them. So they don't, if you weren't trafficked to Trump, you're kind of safe. But none of if any of the ones that come forward, God knows what's going to happen to them. And that's what happened to the Katie Johnson suit is a pseudonym she went under. So it's massively messed up. And
I think they're gonna Bondi and Blanche were pulling whatever stunt they could to keep Bondi from having to appear under oath again, specifically for the Epstein files. I forgot, what was the reason for the first hearing? I've forgotten. Was it the DHS stuff, the ICE stuff, or what was it?
Pam Bondi and that hearing that she had with Patel and all those guys. I think
it's the one where she mentioned the Dows at $50,000. Yeah, I forgot.
Technically speaking, it's just her job. She's got a schedule. They all have to, it's oversight. They have to have an oversight hearing.
They have a periodic hearing?
Yeah, like like an annual or a semi-annual, depending on how the rules go. So they got to.
Unfortunate for them.
Right. Well, I mean, that's, look at how many times Christopher Wray came in. He was there, every year. So was Comey. They all came in, and it wasn't just because there was some sort of shock to the system. The government has to conduct oversight. The oversight has to be done in public. You have committee hearings out in the open. And with rare exception, you can say most of the stuff that they're talking about is in terms of funding in front of everybody. It just hasn't been about funding in 10 fucking years because of, Trump firing Comey and putting Wray in and then going, "Who the fuck hired this guy?" Which is...
Who hired Jerome Powell? What an idiot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, who hired Chris Wray? This guy's a maniac, right? Who put this Joe Kent guy, right? Yeah.
How'd he get in here?
Right. Who let him in? Right. So, and again, are we talking about, Trump actually, because when you talk to him, the weird part is that there are occasional moments, and I think you've seen them, where Trump, you're like, okay, he's not making this decision. His brain's too far gone. He doesn't understand what the hell's going on. So they're basically presenting him something and going, "This will make you look cool, boss." And he just signs off on it, right? And then there's some things that are so fucking stupid. You're like, oh, this was his idea. He's been fixated on this shit since 1984, and he can't see past it. And this is, I'll show you what he posted on Truth Sinkhole. Right here, Morning Glory. Why Trump must finish what he started with Iran's regime. From Fox News. That's what he posted. This is, why he's got to finish what he started with Iran's regime, which means regime shonge. Here it comes, right? So we are at the times they are a shonging.
That's right. That's how you pronounce that word.
That's right. And this is one of those things where I think, part of this is PNAC wanted this all the way. And he does a lot of these things where, like, people have been trying to build this forever, and I finally did it. And part of it seems to be them appealing to his ego to get him to do it. Hi, hello.
Sorry, this is my daughter. She's can you grab mommy's computer, please? I'm sorry.
Hi.
I didn't know you. Mr. Hal saying hello.
Hi. Hello.
We're talking about the price of eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi.
She's 10 years old.
Aw.
Okay, good.
Oh, nice.
She is so crazy with these stuffed animals.
Which one is that? I couldn't get a grip. It was behind the laptop.
That is a character from a game called Dandy's World on Roblox.
Oh yes.
All of the parents of that age, around that age child, know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, mine's 14, and he went through the whole Roblox part. He's kind of like arcing back into Minecraft and that VR, and then Helldivers rather. One of the things, and I wanted to show this too. This is one of those things where initially Trump would just throw around MAGA, make America great again. The fake press is the enemy of the people. Period. Full stop. And like almost speaking in telegrams. And now there are two aspects of this. One is he's trying to solve the all problems to all people. Like in the MAGA world, half the MAGA hates him for this, and the other half is cheering him on. And he's got to placate or dose both and get him to go back to sleep, whatever the hell. Mm-hmm. And so that requires a lot of yammering. That's a lot of defensive and offensive talk, right? You can't just go "Make America great again. See you later," right? You gotta, like
you throw him a bone.
Yeah, spit polish this turd and go, see, chow down. And the other thing is what I would say is the illusion of competency, because I have no doubt that he is he's dictating parts of these things. He's not typing this with his fucking thumbs.
He doesn't think in terms of like a 5-point plan. Give me a break.
No. And so they're shaping his blather into a post, and he goes, it's fine. And they just put it up. But the increasing length of these things makes him look thoughtful about it. Gives the illusion of, of meditation and consideration and being detail oriented and having a focus. Because this is like the fact that he would have to post the reasons for this war, like fucking today, at 2:00, we are getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts. Consider
that's a key phrase.
Yeah,
he's just putting that out there as a dog whistle to the people who don't want to be in Iran.
Right.
But he's also leaving the door open for things to continue just as they are.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
He does it both ways.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's why he ran on getting us out of Afghanistan and left us in there the entire time he was there. And we now, listen to how he spoke after he left office when he was running again. He never intended to leave. We were going to keep Bagram, and we were going to park our ass in the desert forever. Yeah. It was one, completely degrading Iranian missile capability, launchers, and everything else pertaining to them, which is, I guess, a lot. 2, destroying Iran's defense industrial base, which Trump has never said. Like the idea that he would say the words Iran's defense industrial base is fucking stupid. Never came out of his lips, not ever. And he's certainly not writing it. 3, eliminating their Navy and Air Force, including anti-aircraft weaponry. Again, this is like...
He's never used the word weaponry in his life.
Exactly. And 4, never allowing Iran to get even close to nuclear capability. Now, even get close is how you would say that, but they do get even close, which is probably QAnon code for we're getting even. But yeah, right? Never allowing Iran to get even close to nuclear capability. And always being in a position where the U.S. can quickly and powerfully react to such a situation should it take place. 5, protecting at the highest level our Middle Eastern allies, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, and others. The Hormuz Strait will have to be guarded and policed as necessary by other nations who use it. The United States does not, which is just stupid because it affects... What? Yeah, we don't... apparently we don't use the Strait of Hormuz, which is
So why the hell is the price going up so damn high, brother?
well, because it affects the supply, and there is a thing called demand, and there's the world market, and we don't have nationalized oil like what I guess, which is why we invaded Venezuela, apparently. So yeah, and it go, if asked, we will help these countries in their Hormuz efforts, but it shouldn't be necessary once Iran's threat is eradicated. Eradicator. And it's an old Kids in the Hall sketch. Importantly, it will be an easy, it will be an easy military operation for them. So like, just come on down here, but just police the strait. It'll be easy. You guys will have go ahead. It's totally mine free. I swear to God. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald John Trump, whatever, because everything's a fucking complaint slip that he puts in a box near the front door of the office.
The timestamp on there is also, I think it's like 2 in the afternoon. So he's not sundowning. So he's, they're grabbing him while he's coherent and, congealing all of those ideas into a post.
It sounds like they're doing it over lunch. It sounds like during lunch, he just blathers yaps with his mouth full, and then they just write down what he wants to say, and then they plot them out. The other thing I've said for a long time, too, is that I don't necessarily, nicely done, CSL, he found the Eradicator GIF. Eradicator! So, for like those that, I don't know if anybody's ever seen that, hold on, let's see if I can bring this up, and I'll show it to you. In case you don't know, you must know. This would be, here you go. There you go. Eradicator.
Look at that.
He's a masked guy who plays everybody at squash, and he's working his way up the list of people who play squash at this club, and he's the Eradicator. Knocks you off the list, and then he loses and thinks it's his battle scream that's weak. It's a running thing with Bruce McCullough bit. Anyway, so just if you don't know it, you should know it. Just like We Can Pickle That from Portlandia. There are just some bits you must know. So I think there's this illusion, besides the fact that he does wake up in the middle of the night and call people, that I think they post stuff 24 hours a day to make it look like he never sleeps. And then rest in peace Chuck Norris, who died today. Who gave me I took karate lessons from him when I was 9 years old.
Get out of here.
He knew my karate instructor in Kentucky, who was a minister at our church, and Bill Durbin, and his girlfriend, who was the assistant band director at my middle school, or the middle school that I would eventually go to. Her name was Peggy Derryberry, and when she married him, she decided to hyphenate her name and became Peggy Derryberry Durbin, which is way over quota with D's and B's. Like this, I mean, that's a lot. Are there any vowels in this, and where do they go? So anyway, he knew Chuck from the kickboxing circuit, and so Chuck would go around. If he wasn't fighting, he would do these kind of like signings and and that kind of stuff. Yeah. He was in Lexington for a car show kind of thing where you can meet Chuck Norris, and this is well before most of his bigger movies were made. This is 1978, 79.
Wow.
Yeah, and he came to the school and hung out for came back 2 days in a row, and we all did he gave us kicking exercises to do, and he stood on my leg, which is good. So it sat in a horse stance like this, and then he came over and stood up on my leg. I'm like, I got a solid horse stance.
Peggy Derryberry sounds like how Vince Neil sounds now.
That's right.
Doing a concert for.
Right. Yeah. He sounds a little bit like the chicken lady on Kids in the Hall. Just drop drop most consonants and all your conjunctions. Don't sing any ands. Don't sing any of this. Yeah.
That's right.
So, and again, talk about a hard fade, but again, that's chemically induced by and large. So the question goes in the last 3 minutes that I have you, dear sir, and thank you for coming on. I'd love to have you on the morning show again as well. Is that
Sure.
they seem to be, if you notice, hold on, besides all the ads and whatever, that this is the ex-police chief told him, Trump told him, thank goodness you're stopping Epstein in the 2000s. Somewhere in the mid 2000s. I love that we don't have a date. It's just that he called him and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." That's Trump's quote. And after that, that Dan Goldman thing, like clearly not. Like no, this is
so ridiculous.
Yeah,
man.
this is the other part. This is in the mid 2000s as well, and they're right about the same time. I don't know what he was doing.
New Year's Eve 2009. That's when it happened.
Yeah, I only know what I read about in the paper. Yeah, I read about in the paper. That's what I did. Yeah, I read about in the paper.
The paper, see?
Yeah, right. That's the Lovett's liar character he stole from Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton had a bit.
Stole that from Michael Keaton?
Yeah, Michael Keaton had a stand-up bit about how he grew up watching gangster films, and then when his dad would catch him in a lie, he would see these guys in these gangster films go, I don't know anything about no murder. And they go, who said anybody was murdered, Charlie? I read about it in the paper. Yeah, I read about it. See, I read about it in the paper. That's where I heard it. That's what I did. And so he was about like how bad a liar he was as a kid because he learned from gangster movies. And that was the bit. And then he did it at evening at the Improv, like in '79 or some shit like that. And that's where Lovett's got the bad liar thing from. So now you know, and knowing is 1/3 of the battle now. It's because of inflation. I don't know if you know that. It's true. Yeah. So I have to say, like, what are the markers that we should look out for in the next round of Trump fades besides them AIing videos? Which again, I would love to see your takedown of that video.
Yeah,
comparing it
totally.
And maybe find him giving a speech where he's reading. And pop it next to that. It is night and fucking day. It looks like something from 5 years ago. Or even 10.
So I actually believe, I'll have to go back and look. I believe the address he gave the nation regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination, I think that was AI as well. It was way too polished. He read it way too well. And I don't know, there's something about the hue, the color grading of that shot that just looked like, I don't know, this looks like something from Call of Duty,
right?
Like a cutscene where the president congratulates you for finishing the campaign missions. So I think we're going to see more AI because he's just not going to be available to do everything that is actually needed of him. I think we're going to see, like you saw with Dan Goldman's releasing the unredacted version of that particular document. You're going to see more and more of that happen. I think there is a mountain of, because of his confabulation from frontotemporal dementia, I think he's added more and more layers of lying that he isn't even aware that he's done.
Right.
Because that's the nature of confabulation. You fill in the holes in the memory with lies that you yourself 100% believe, which is why he sounds so confident. But he is making it up. Mark Thompson from the Mark Thompson Show, I've been on their podcast twice. He asked me that. He was like, sometimes he does look, he looks okay. And I'm like, well, first of all, there's more coming and going with behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia than there is with Alzheimer's. With Alzheimer's, you just see steady decline. You don't see a rallying at any point. So that's the first thing. But second of all, the frontotemporal dementia comes and goes more often. It just, you have these rough moments where, like when he did the phone call with Dan Bongino's podcast, and he literally pontificated for 3 solid minutes about Tina Peters, and every word he said was false.
Yeah,
it was all wrong.
Right.
So you're going to see more of that. More of that will be exposed regarding Epstein because he's not even aware of how many layers of BS he's added
Right.
onto just the cover up itself.
Yeah.
So it's only going to damage him more as the Congress people can view unredacted files, which is so stupid that we're saying this because they're supposed to be released. We're supposed to have everything right now.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to see that. You're going to see more paranoia. He's already taken shots at Israel because of their bombing of a natural gas production facility.
Yeah, and the oil refineries. Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow, I don't know. For me, that felt like a massive no-no. I was like, you can't do that to Israel because they know what's in the files too.
Right.
So
right. They have a copy of originals. Right.
In triplicate.
Yeah.
So you're going to see more paranoia, more erratic behavior. He's going to become more and more unmanageable. Mm-hmm. You're going to see more Joe Kents. Joe Kent is just the first. Mm-hmm. You're going to see more resignation or, they might even start to scuttle their own cabinet positions on purpose, just so they can say that they can have some measure of plausible deniability. Most of these people are counting on a pardon from him.
Yeah, so that's why they'll stick around. Or JD Vance. Like JD Vance will only give them one if they stick that out, and that's the price.
JD. Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to see. You're going to notice more moistness in his speech.
Oh yeah, he's been slobbering.
Yes,
he's been like the Irish when he was speaking at the Irish event in the middle of the day. Like it was like he was gonna. You gobbed on my carpet, mate. I was waiting for him to actually just like that. There was so much saliva. It was gross.
Yes, and that's one weird thing about the video, the clip that you showed me of the AI video of him. It's accurately depicting how moist his consonants are nowadays. That's tough to do. That's tough to duplicate, but it is doing that. But you're going to see more of that. I don't believe they're ever going to have his speech hard copy on a podium anymore. I think he's only going to be on teleprompters because when he has to tilt his head forward, he cannot clear saliva because his swallowing mechanism is degrading. So you're going to see that.
But the problem is they have a bunch of fuck ups in the White House and who don't prep for this. And so they honest to God, he did the football gathering today with like a written paper. He did.
Was it on the podium?
Yes, it was on the podium, and it was like, and he did a lot of like, the other thing I've noticed, he started slapping people more, like that. He did that really fucked up thing with Mike Johnson about the guy who was he'll be dead by June. Tell him to think about the dead guy, right? And he's slapping everybody. Dude, he did the same thing with Marco Rubio today. He was he's like, if I started telling you what the plan is, Marco would start doing it. And he reached over and whacked him in the shoulder a little bit. Like he's doing that more and more as well.
He did the same thing when Marco handed him the note. I just got a note from Marco. He smacked Marco on the shoulder like, it's all right.
Yeah. I'm still here. I'm still present. You're with me, right? Get out there, huh? Tell him I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that contact thing, part of it as well? Because like he didn't used to do that.
Well, yeah, he's socially he's trying to socially cue somebody to toe the line. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's actually a it's not jovial behavior. It's actually an aggression.
It's insistence, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's insistence. Just like the way he shakes hands. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have any social skills per se. Mm-hmm. The only thing he does socially is so he can figure out how to exert power over another person.
Right. And again, the way he shakes hands with everybody is, when he shakes hands with Putin, he turns his palm up like a dog rolling over to have its belly rubbed. You ever notice that? Like he does this, and then he started doing at the thing with the football players, the Navy team today. He reached over with his left hand and kind of like grabbed the hand of the general that was there instead of reaching over and doing like this. He just kind of did this kind of like it was an ant grabbing a child's hand or something like that, and just kind of shook the top of it, like yeah. Yeah, super
Yeah.
peculiar. Like, and again, in isolation, would any of these be a big deal? Nah.
Right.
Right, but they
we know that
stack.
we know that that's his disinhibition is going to increase. He's going to
Yeah.
he'll do more behavior like that. That's, you're not supposed to do that. Like, invoking Pearl Harbor in front of the Prime Minister of Japan.
Right. Yeah. And saying, why didn't you tell me? Not like the United States or us. Why didn't you tell me about the Pearl Harbor? Right? Like that's was hard to grasp because he almost could have pulled off the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He could have pulled off the joke. Why don't you tell us about Pearl Harbor, huh? It would have been crass and stupid, but it would have functioned as a joke. But he had to say me. Right? And
Yeah, because I am America.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, guys. Yes, that's part of it. Yes, right.
Me.
Yeah, I am.
Nothing exists beyond me.
The king and the land are one. There has been a curse upon the land since the king has died, and only someone pulling the sword from the stone of MAGA will, which goes apparently right through Tucker Carlson's spine these days. Thank you so much for coming on, Adam. I look forward to talking to you again. Have a great night, and I greatly appreciate you. Do you have a regular schedule for you post videos, or is it daily? Or you do
I post daily.
3:00 every day, or
it's in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
There's one morning a week where I'm forced to be at a work meeting first thing in the morning. So usually I don't have morning videos. I usually get them done in the car, like in between patients.
Sure.
But the rest of the time I'm posting in the morning. The weekends, a lot of times I'll wait till the evening because I just want to sleep. But there are daily posts, and honestly, I've been posting, something else in the evening as well, just because there's so much happening and so many other, the core of my content is commenting on the president's health, but once he's gone, I've still got plenty to say about, being ex-MAGA and how I escaped all that and all that stuff,
Of course. Yeah. And I think there's going to be a cleansing that goes on. I had a guest on this morning, one of the Navy SEALs, the one that shot Osama bin Laden in the face. I had him on this morning. Yeah, Robert. And, he's definitely a Republican, or at least he's an independent. He's registered independent, definitely right-leaning in that regard. Probably on national security and law and order grounds, by and large. That's his, that's his prioritization. But a totally, a great conversation and totally a reachable human being. And even he is recognizing this kind of split amongst MAGA, that at some point, if you insist on a civil war is happening in the country, you can't jumpstart it in other people, but you can bring it to your side pretty easily. And MAGA is in a civil war right now, man. They really are. They are. This whole Ben Shapiro versus Candace Owens and Erica Kirk thing, and
as soon as Charlie Kirk got shot, the cults will fracture into splinter groups as soon as their leader is out of power or off the scene. But it actually began before Trump has left power, because Candace Owens was resolute. Even after a face-to-face meeting with Erica Kirk, she has not taken her foot off the gas.
Yeah, I think that was more shocking. If anything, she went deeper into it. Yeah. After this peaceful meeting, right, where they sat for 4 hours like sisters and all that kind of shit with lawyers present. And now it's just all bets are off, and it couldn't happen to a nicer group of people.
Oh man,
right? So I think next time you come on it, that might be what we break down is start going into how that wedge is happening and what kind of power structure that that rupture creates. The jockeying for position, because the best analogy I have right now is the Skeksis when Chamberlain, when they're all gathered around the bed and they all grab for the scepter when the old Skeksis is trying in Dark Crystal.
Oh my God!
And then they're like, trial by stone, right? And they all have to swing the sword at the thing like Muppets. And
I gotta tell my wife that you referenced this as one of her favorite movies.
I love it. I love the original Dark Crystal. It's amazing. But
Yeah.
and then the idea that the parity between the mystics and the Skeksis, they're actually a separated species, and until they come back together, there can't be peace. So when the old one dies, one of the mystics dies, and you don't really, when you're a kid watching it, you don't make the connection that because they're the same being, right?
Yes.
But yeah, that whole like that dude. That dude is one of the creepiest. He and the child sniffer from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang are like the two scariest creatures from my childhood. And
Are you a fan of The Labyrinth?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean,
That's my wife's favorite movie.
yeah, I mean it's beautiful, and it's and
Yeah.
it's more sorrowful than scary,
Yes.
Yeah. And anything with yeah, I mean just genius. But those two particular characters, like both of them, the child sniffer from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Chamberlain from the Skeksis and the Dark Crystal, could both get a job in this administration. And probably, I mean, if you were trying to make a human look like one of them, it would be Stephen Miller. I mean, he basically, I wouldn't be surprised if he sits there going, make peace? Make peace?
Well, well, there's an opening at the counterterrorism department. So.
That's right. Yeah, that's I think like here comes the. Who are you? Here to be director of counterterrorism. Right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, chat! You gotta cut that. That's it.
Stop your whimpering. Right.
Clip that and post it and tag Hal. It's gonna be incredible. You got it.
I creeped myself out doing that. It was rough. All right. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'll see you next time.
Cool,
awesome.
Man. See you later.
Thank you. All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Doc Adam, good man. And I look forward to us having the kind of, as MAGA collapses under its weight, especially getting closer to the election, I do feel like we're going to see a lot more of this. It mattering, this separation between them is going to have more, real world consequences. Right now, it's an online dick swinging competition, but at some point, it's going to cross the line into you cost us this election, boom, and you could argue that some of those are already happening now.